Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Marcus Peter. I'm coming to you from Catholics at the Shore, coming to you from the Jersey Shore. It's an amazing conference, a time for Catholic leaders and business entrepreneurs to be able to fellowship, to mingle, to network for the sake of fraternity, for the sake of building up the kingdom, in evangelizing the culture. Joining me to have a conversation about his time here on Catholics at the Shore and his work with the Papal Foundation is Deacon Jim Coffee. He is Senior Vice President of Advancement or Senior Vice President of Development. He wears both hats, which are effectively the same hat. Deacon, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Dr. Marcus, really great to be here. I'm blessed, and just thanks for having me.
Oh, very glad to be able to speak with you. For our listeners, just share what you do at the Papal Foundation and what the Papal Foundation does.
Sure. The Papal Foundation is a great work of evangelization and outreach, supporting the work of the Holy Father and his missions around the world. So the Holy Father, Pope Leo, 1 year ago today, we have his anniversary of becoming the Holy Father. He has this incredible insight to the needs of the world, because the world reaches out to him like they would to, like anybody would reach out to their father when in need. And it all goes back to John Paul II, when it began in 1988. And John Paul II famously said, when someone asked him, what do you think your greatest challenge is as the Holy Father? And he just didn't take him long to say, when people reach out to me for with requests, and I feel like sometimes if I can't respond and be helpful, I feel like what it must feel like for a father to turn their back on a child when a child reaches out for help. So that has continued. This was created as an outreach of philanthropy, of charity, of helping the Holy Father be the father to all of the world's people when they're in their times of need. So the Papal Foundation very much, while based in the U.S., helps people mostly in the developing nations that have great needs for humanitarian needs of schools and hospitals and orphanages and all kinds of things that, again, people in those areas and those countries we might not even know about the existence, but the Holy Father does, because of his unique outlook to the world, his unique perspective to the needs of the world. And this is a way for people who have worked hard, who have been blessed, who have know they've been blessed, they want to continue to share those blessings with others, can say, what can I do? They help in many ways with their local parish, their diocese, their local community. But they say, how else can we help the church? And they help by aligning themselves in a very unique way with the outreach of the Holy Father to the world.
I want to ask you to speak to, just given the nature of your work in the Papal Foundation, to speak to the embarrassing wealth of riches we have in the church in the West, particularly in the United States. I say this because our listeners know this. I'm from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Near zero resources for studying the faith. My entire journey into the Catholic faith was because of the generosity of the American Catholic Church, lay apostolates, and Catholic media. Everything I could get online was how I studied. So share about how blessed we are here and why thereby we have an obligation to consider the impoverished needs of churches across the world.
Well, look at this resource run right now, Ave Maria Radio, covering so much of the world, every corner of the world, because people can literally get into their car or be at home and turn on a dial or an internet connection, and there you go. We're hearing about the proclamation of the gospel in a very rich and fun and breezy and engaging way because of this media apostolate of many. And so there are just so many. Marcus, I try to remind myself every day that we look in the mirror and you wake up in the morning and you're in this country where we often say, we hit the lottery if you're born in this country at this time. And the church is just so alive in this country at this time. So we have every need that we could ever have in our lives met, and then some, tenfold. And how can we not say, Lord, what can we do? Why were we born into this time? We don't know. We don't know God's plan, why we're born into this life that we live in this world, this country. But we have so many opportunities to say, okay, well, we can help others by the blessings that we have. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why we have such an abundance of blessings, as you mentioned. But I just know that God wants us to share that with others. And the Papal Foundation is a rich, blessed way that people can do that in a way that's it's not in anything flashy or anything like that, but it's in a very quiet way. The folks that are part of it. The members are called stewards of St. Peter being our first pope, of course, and they just say, how can we take our gifts and steward them alongside as a companion to our Holy Father? Because we have been so blessed, to your question, yeah.
Why a focus on missionary evangelization?
I think it was Father Shea from University of Mary who wrote the book about being disciples and mission, and how we truly are in a missionary disciple world that we're in. We realize that we're in a world that's post-Christian. So we have these abundant blessings around us, and yet we know that it doesn't take very long to figure out that most people just don't seem to be have that true North Star of our faith. So if we have by the gift of our baptism, if we have a sense of God indwelling in our hearts and the encouragement that we have by our baptismal vow to share that with others, well, life is really more than just about kind of satisfying our own needs. So if we have that sense staring in our heart that there's something greater, we're here at Catholics of the Shore, and Dr. Grabowski just gave us an incredible exposition on Augustine and how Augustine reminds us how truly nothing in this life satisfies us, but God does. So our hearts truly are restless, and until we kind of get that sense of that's what life makes life, the joy of life is taking that to others and not just keeping it to ourselves, not keeping a light under the basket, as Jesus says in the gospel. That's where life is the most complete and most full when we can be forward thinking, outward thinking, bringing the gospel to others.
The other thing too has to do with the mandate of the fact that we cannot help but be missionary. We cannot help but be evangelistic. And so a big part of what you're doing at the Papal Foundation is to create support for that work of evangelization. Can you talk about how every one of us is called to evangelize, but we can all do it in different ways, and the Papal Foundation does one way of that?
Sure. Our director, Dave Savage, also talks about how we try to just foster communities of Christ's love and just around the world. They're out there. We can be missionary at home or to our own family, most importantly, but there are these places around the world that just will never have the blessings and the abundance that we have here in our country. So there are sisters, there are organizations, there are lay groups, they are doing this, they are laboring in the vineyard in these parts of the world that just don't have the resources that we have. So we can partner, we can work alongside. We do create opportunities to come and see, go make a visit to some of these places. A lot of the folks that are part of the Papal Foundation, the stewards of St. Peter, will never be able to take that opportunity for any reason, various reasons. But they exist, and so if they can, we bring people to a place here at Catholics of the Shore. One of the folks we're hearing about are the World Villages of Children, Chalco, right by Our Lady of Guadalupe Shrine. And there you see the 3,000 children who truly, as Chris McMahon said today, reminded us, they truly come from a village where they don't even know what it means to have a toothbrush. But the sisters that are there have truly given their lives to raise these, help parents raise these children, give them an opportunity to grow in their faith, grow in their education, grow in their skills to be employable in the world. So there's just so much happening all around us. When if God gives us eyes to see, to experience that ourselves, and to be a part of that, the great missionary of mandate of the gospel to go and make disciples of all nations. If we have eyes to see, and if God gives us the blessing and the grace to see that, then I think that a whole new world opens to us, and we can just have a whole new dimension of life that we never even knew existed.
And that's precisely why, over and above your work at the Papal Foundation, you also have given your life to the service of the diaconate, and that one just saying of a yes to Christ, which thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. It's been a great gift. It's just coming up on a year. June 14th will be a year. I'm very grateful to Archbishop Nelson Perez, our Archbishop in Philadelphia, who ordained me, and 7 other men. And I'll have to leave the conference a little bit early tomorrow morning for 3 more friends who are going to be ordained tomorrow morning to this life of service. But I just remember hearing in Mass often, not always, but often in the universal prayer that there would be a call for an increase in vocations to the religious life and the priesthood, and often you would hear that to the diaconate as well. And I felt like the church. I keep hearing the church calling, asking for this, men to be open to this. So my wife Felicia is very supportive still. We have 5 children, 4 with us, 1 in heaven, and we just feel like she said, well, let's try it. Let's put our toe in the water, and we started through the classes at the seminary, and immediately everything that they said was true. That the men and that their spouses would be there'd be a community, and it really was. And so I'm looking forward to seeing my classmates at the ordination of the new men, and it's been a great blessing that God has put in my life to follow this call.
My guest has been Jim Coffee, Senior Vice President of Development or Advancement for the Papal Foundation. And we've been talking at Catholics at the Shore about the missionary mandate that is so necessary for the evangelization and the salvation of souls across the world. Stay tuned. I'm Marcus Peter.